Hello and welcome to the review by Max Ray Games. Today we'll be reviewing Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. As usual, we'll start with character creation. And let me just start off by saying, if you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, then although this is a MMORPG, it's also based roughly around the original series, so there are some good aspects to it in that sense. Okay, so as we begin here, they let you pick a basic environment just so you can see your character in a more realistic area. And then we'll get going here. So as you can see, the characters are well modeled, detailed, graphics are fairly good. Some good interesting outfits, and we'll get into the armor in a little bit here so you can take a look at the different classes. I think I like the way she looks, so we'll go with that. And I've gotten some comments about how I always seem to create and play as a girl, and let me just address that up front here. Two things. One is if I'm going to be playing a game, running around for hours and watching somebody, then I'd rather watch a female personally. And the other one is artistically, I think there's a lot more you can do with a woman. I could honestly care less how big my character's biceps are, and women have the better hair, they're going to have makeup, and so I think it's just a better way. Now we're going to be skipping forward a little bit through this. The entire character creation is very in-depth. It took me about 25 minutes to get the look I wanted. So here you can see there's a lot of different styles of hair. All the general body sizes are there. So let's pick a style of hair that we like here. And now we can choose a color. Lots of different options here as well. Yeah, if you did play the Final Fantasy games, then you'll love the music at this part here. It's actually from the first one, back on Nintendo. Sadly, I am old enough to actually remember that. Here we're just editing the color of some face paint that she has. And here we get to pick the voice. Lots of them are incredibly irritating, so it's kind of finding the lesser of the evil here. There are lots of emotes in this game as far as dancing and stuff like that, so if you're going to use those, then you will actually hear some of the voices. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's go ahead and save that and move on to the class selection. Now, one difference here from most of their games is these are much more traditional classes. However, they did stick with some of the looks. Like when you get into the mages, you'll see it kind of resembles the black and white mage back from the old days, just way more complicated. But some more basic sword fighting style classes than they usually have. But still, very interesting armor skins and weapon skin. Our story begins in the big city of Yildal, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And we'll get our first quest here from what looks to be John Lennon and Yoko Ono's love child. And he'll get you started, point you in the right direction. Now, right in the beginning, you are going to be doing a lot of courier quests. Be a little bit boring in the beginning, but part of that is so you can understand the map system. It's a really large environment, and the map can be a little clumsy the way they have it set up. Certain areas, if you want to click on a quest to see an area, it's going to show you that area and not necessarily where you are in relevance, so there's a bit of figuring out, but once you understand it, it does work, but it does take a little bit of practice. Now, this game still is in closed beta. It tends to run a little bit sketchy from time to time, but again, it's still in closed beta. It'll be going into open beta in middle of August, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in playing. One thing they missed out on is so far, unless they add it later, there is a lot of reading and no actual voice acting. It would be nice to have a little bit of vocal acting, even from your own character. If not, then at least from the NPCs, just to kind of pull you in a little more. At this point, it's all reading, which, I don't know if you're lazy like me, sometimes that can get a little bit tiring, but still, in the beginning here, not much of a story. Before you get to level 10, which you can easily do, probably the first day, there actually a story starts to develop that does pull you in, I would say more so than most general MMOs do. So that's something to look forward to. Combat system for Realm Reborn is pretty typical of your basic MMO. Right click to attack with your number keys for your special moves. As I mentioned before, this game does have a mysterious underlying story, which reveals itself slowly as you play, kind of keeping true to the original Final Fantasy series. Jumping forward a few levels here, you can see the armor drastically changes your character's appearance. Also, a nice feature is most of the armor can be shared across classes, so you're actually at liberty to choose whether you prefer more magical or more regular attack defense. Obviously, this armor here, in my opinion, is god-awful and ugly. However, it happens to be the best thing at this level, so Again, completely up to you how you want your character to look. Now let me say, when I first saw some of the cutscenes, I was a little disappointed they were done in real play graphics as opposed to the traditional movie cutscenes. However, of course, then I realized this is done so your exact character, modeled exactly the way you have them, can be a part of these cutscenes, which is a nice feature. For instance, if I would be wearing a pair of gloves here, then obviously in the cutscene I would have those gloves on also. Something they haven't really done in any of the Final Fantasy games yet. Also, just to mention, this game is available on computer or PS3. Again, coming out in August, so you can play either way. This one's been done on PC. I haven't played the PlayStation release to see graphics-wise if it's similar or better. Also, the game can be played with a regular controller or keyboard and mouse combo. Judging that it's still in its middle beta, I'm not gonna give it necessarily a score. However, I would say it does have solid gameplay, does have a solid storyline, definitely worth playing. One of the better MMOs that I've played. However, again, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, then I think you're gonna like this more than the average person would. So, definitely worth a shot. I would check it out. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the rest of our reviews, visit us on Twitter, and check out our website at maxraygames.com.